Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe football show. We've got the lovely Joe with us, the reliable Joe, who me and him have just been having a conversation really last few days over Willy won't he, Nikolai Krstović. You've just lost me there for a second, but I'm back. It's mad because 1 minute he's in, then he's not. Then he's what I find confusing, Joe. We'll jump straight into it, mate, because Krstović in Italy is on his way to Italy. Well, has had a deal accepted. As far as to say, Matteo Moretti has been speaking on Fabrizio Romano's YouTube channel, saying it's done and it's now just up to the player. Nicolo Schira, is that how I pronounce it? It's my best bet anyway. He's also posted saying agreements in place and Leeds are speaking to the player. And then we get an article or total downplay from the journalists in England, the YEP and stuff like that. So it's a really hard one to track because it's like, I'm not quite sure that Romano, Moretto and all that sort of stuff would go as far as to say they are, you know. It was like if it was totally rubbish, it's a week's passed since then, and we're getting it again from different sources now. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Maybe the club are trying to save face because the player is not keen on the move. He's a little bit umming and ahhing and waiting for a better offer. So it saves face in that respect. Yeah, what do you make to it, Joe?
This time last week, the initial report from Italy came out that said Leeds were in discussions and had put a bid in for Krstović. Then the YEP came out and said, no, they haven't.
Yeah.
But the initial report said that further talks were expected this week with news this week. And then this week comes along and you've got DiMarzio, Sky Italia, Moretti, Romano, who are all saying the exact same thing, which is agreement in place between the two clubs, but no agreement in place with the player. And the Leeds still have some ground to go to convince the player to make the move to Elland Road. And some people, I did it this morning, and some people were saying, well, if he doesn't want to come, then move on.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to want to come. Like, you've got to look at it. We're Leeds fans, so we look at Leeds with rose-tinted glasses. We think it's the best place in the world and everyone should want to come play here. But the realistic perspective on this is every side that's got promoted in the last 2 years has been relegated straight away. Nikola Krstović finished rock bottom of the league with Lecce this year. He's not going to want to go into that again. He wants to play at the top end of the division. So there's going to be a thinking room for him. He's got to have to weigh all this up. And maybe the likes of Yacobial coming in and the Lecce, maybe a few others, changes his mind on that. The Leeds are building a good side. But then it's really interesting to see, and there's a tone to the YEP stuff that I don't understand that's there. It's very much well, there's no agreement, so therefore there can't have been an offer, so therefore it's not true. But if you read the YEP articles, it's not exactly investigative journalism that they're putting out there. It's literally taking an article that's been published in Italy, stating what that article said, and then saying that sources at the club have said there's no truth in it. That's it. Yeah. So someone's wrong.
Yeah.
And someone's very wrong, because Graham Smith, again, to reply to somebody who asked any truth in Krstović, he said nothing in it. Definitive, nothing in it. So that's all right. There's no offer, there's no discussions, there's no approach, there's no interest, it's nothing. And then you go to Italy and it's done deal by the player signing on the dotted line. Like, couldn't be further apart in the reports. So it's really, really interesting. I like the player, especially considering where they finished in the league and considering his output for where they finished in the league. And I do think he fits the model of players that Leeds are seriously looking at this year. Big, strong, big boy presence on the pitch. And he's got an absolute rocket of a right foot on him as well. But he can score with his left and he's decent with his head as well. So there's not a bad player there. Yeah. He's the right age, but he wants to play at the top end of Serie A. Feels that Italy probably suits his game more. But yeah, it's a case on this that when this is over, somebody's very right and somebody's very wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, it seems like he's hedging his bets a little bit on the proviso that potentially there might be movement in Italy because I think Moise Kean might be on his way to Manchester United. He's got Yeah, he's got offers in Saudi as well.
Khadisha, yeah.
Yeah, so if that happens, and Andrea's, I mean, I'm getting this from Andrea, but I know the keen stuff's online, but he's basically saying that if he was to leave, then Fiorentina and maybe other clubs will then want to reinvest in a 9, and maybe that's why Krstović is wanting to stay put. But again, we don't even know if it's because the club line is we're definitely not in for him, nothing in it whatsoever, which again, I'm not too sure I agree, because surely, I mean, we were told the same with Noah Siddiqui, weren't we? And then Sasho Taglieri was like, no, definitely we are. So, yeah.
Sasha's hit and miss, though, to be fair, but Romano's less so. I guess. And Moretti is less so. And DiMarzio have got a cracking track record as well. And the thing with this is, it's not like some of the journalists on the continent who bring Leeds on a regular basis because Leeds get clicks, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
These are journalists that don't talk about Leeds. You know, they don't. And again, Sky don't tend to get involved in talking about deals unless they're fairly advanced stage. You don't usually start to get involved then either. So I don't know whether it's just interest where Leeds are just sounding out the player, but they haven't gone any further with it. But the agent is trying to drum up some interest in Italy to get him the move that he wants and try and speed that up. That could be the case, but yeah, it's an interesting one. But Leeds want a number 9. He kind of fits the bill of what they're looking for. So yeah, Baron Cross says the only credible one at the moment is Muniz, but he said that on the Square Ball on Thursday last week, and they recorded it on the Wednesday, and the Krstović stuff came out on the Thursday. So
yeah,
we need to hear more on that.
And that's quite, because we did, what I found quite interesting on that as well, and I'm not sure how true this is, Tyler, where is that? But David Ornstein said on the transfer roundup, we are in for Siddiqui, and I've not seen that. And what I found quite interesting on that same Square Ball podcast, Barron said on there as well, when he mentioned credible links to players, he mentioned Siddiqui within that as well. And we were told, obviously, no, that's not someone they want. He's on a list, but you know, he's not someone we're on. But the Athletic, where Ornstein contributes, recently mentioned Leeds' interest in the 20-year-old valued at around about 20 million euros, and of course we heard from Sasha Taglieri as well. So yeah, that's what. Yeah,
one I have says Noah Siddiqui is a player that Leeds United are interested in, while David Ornstein is a journalist known for reporting on transfer significant that the Athletic. Leeds are said to reportedly have made the first move for Siddiqui. Ornstein recently reported that Chelsea had interest in Fofana and Leon, and Leeds in Siddiqui.
There you go. And we were told no, weren't we, after we...
Well, Joe said no, yeah.
Yeah, after we originally went with it. So the club line, I think the club are trying as much as they can to keep everything on the down low. Yeah,
because look, like BL got out early.
Yeah.
And they've delayed that announcement, like controlled the narrative maybe a little bit, but he that one got out through the Athletic a week ago, more than a week ago now.
Yeah. It's on there as well. What else we're hearing? Leeds United are interested in St. July midfielder Noah Siddiqui. And that's coming from Sebastian Stafford Blur and Baron Cross. So that's really got some legs then with regards to Noah Siddiqui with the people that are reporting that. So because who do we believe? So it looks like
it's going to be difficult now because Forest and Villa have gone in for him now as well.
Yeah. Who? Because if you think a week ago, no, not happening, and now Ornstein's putting it in his article. And it's got two journalists with Baron Cross and Seb Stafford Blow reporting it as well. And he's the guy who does all the FFP PSR stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting, mate. So maybe right now we're not, there's no bid, but in a week's time we might be on for Krstović based on that.
Maybe, but we're just YouTubers, Joe. What do we know about transfers? We're not journalists. I'm just a YouTuber.
Yeah. The shade.
Like it's dirt I need to wipe off my shoulder,
Funny, man. Funny. So Siddiqui would be a good pickup because where's your head on Diarra? That deal would have been close to being done if there was any, if he was up for it. Do you know what I mean?
I think there's two sides. I think it's the player and the club. He and his representatives clearly want to move to a top side in the top 5 leagues, and wants to play European football next summer. Next season, his representatives have said they're backing his belief in himself, and they're going to help him get that move. Premier League money talks. So if there's no Premier League interest by Leeds, maybe you can get that across the line. There's nothing that says Leeds have pulled out of the deal. Leeds have still very much said to be in the mix. But then you see today Nottingham Forest have entered the mix. They're in Europe next season. Then Aston Villa have also made moves for him as well. They're in Europe next year. Both of them are likely not to do anything till after June the 30th because of their PSR situations. They have to do some creative accounting to get that right first. And then they can go crazy after the 30th. So, yeah, it looks like it's further and further away from Leeds. It'd be a cracking signing. It's great to see Leeds being that ambitious, though, because that is an ambitious signing.
Yeah.
But Noah Siddiqui's a very good player. And for me, I watched the scout report that you guys did as well. And I've done my own kind of research on him as well. He kind of fills 2 different positions. Like he can do the box-to-box stuff and he can be progressive, but he's also a very good defensive-minded midfielder as well. If Leeds need to sit in against certain sides and be a bit more defensive. So you get that from him as well. And he's got room to grow. He's a good age, good engine on him as well. I think he'd be a very decent signing for us to make. I'm not opposed to Sean Longstaff either. I mean, Barron said that there was interest in that, and he'd know from talking to the Newcastle Athletic journalists as well. And they said there is interest there. Not a sexy signing, but we've done that before. David Hopkin, when he came to Leeds, not a sexy signing at all. Very, very sensible player. Jason Wilcox came to Leeds, not a sexy signing, was brilliant for Leeds. I think he'd be a very sensible signing, and the 49ers tend to do sensible business, so I wouldn't be against him either. You would like somebody more progressive in there as well with him. I think you get that from Siddiqui, and he's not going to cost you a lot of money, so you could do both, Yeah. And then it's the 10.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a 10. It's quite because the other guy as well, Igor Pakzhao, he's now been linked to Villa as well. There's very strong links to there as well. So, interesting. Another one I wanted us to chat about, because obviously the YEP, probably rightly so, kiboshed the moves to Meslier to Fenerbahce has been bullshit. And to be honest, the sources that came out with it yesterday, they weren't great sources either. But it has been quite quiet on Mez, hasn't it, mate? Where do you think that goes? Do you know what it is to me, Joe? Like, an incoming goalkeeper's not as needed, like, immediately, because a goalkeeper just keeps goal. He doesn't, he can come in as your last signing, really. Do you know what I mean?
Especially if you're bringing an English-speaking goalkeeper as well. I think there's not as much of a rush to bring him in, where if you're bringing in an outfield player, he needs to fit into the system, the style of play. He needs to understand the dynamic of the team. He needs to build up relationships on the pitch as well as off the pitch with other players. There's all that stuff that goes into it. The rapport the players have with each other when they play. Goalkeeper doesn't really need that as much, and just organize your defense, and that's pretty much the same at every club. You're giving your details and off you go. So they could leave that one go as long as they wanted in the window. That could be done near the end of the window. Yeah. And you could navigate pre-season with Carl Darlow, Rory Mahady from the 21s is said to be going on pre-season with the Leeds first team as well. He's a cracking young keeper. So you're fine in that position. You could wait a little bit longer. But I think if there is true to Meslier going out, then maybe Leeds have got somebody lined up. Then you look at Weiss potentially going to Burnley, Trafford potentially in talks with Newcastle. Ding, 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 ding. Meslier goes off to Fenerbahce or somewhere else, and Pope comes in.
Would Pope be your number one?
I would love Jordi Petrovic, but I would. I think Nick Pope again is a very sensible signing. Safe pair of hands, nothing spectacular, and we don't need to talk about our goalkeeper next year, good or bad. Yeah, no, exactly. And I don't think our goalkeeper is going to be asked to do too much expansive stuff. We're going to be hopefully defending with a deeper line and save a ton of shots.
Yeah. That's all we want him for. I mean, Pope, if he is the man. Kept Burnley in the league for a few seasons, didn't he? So I'd love someone like that. This chatter of Dan James getting a new deal as well, richly deserved, I'd say. Joe, what do you reckon?
Yeah, one of my favourite players. Love everything about him. Love what he does for Leeds. Does everything with a smile on his face. Never complains. Just gets on with it, no matter what he's asked to do. There was talk a couple of weeks ago that there was a bit of a divide on the contract. They were offering him 2 years. He's got one left plus 2. He wanted slightly longer than that, but again, according to reports, I'm sure the Yorkshire Evening Post will put out a story in a minute telling us there's no truth to it. But in the meantime, it looks like he could be getting an extension to his deal, which is very justified. And I think he'll be a big player for us next year. He's definitely improved. Like one of the the markers of a half decent coach is, can you improve a players? And I don't think Daniel Farke has necessarily improved a lot of players, but I think Dan James is one that he's definitely improved because his end product is way better than it was. His finishing, his crossing, all of his output metrics are all gone through the roof. So he's definitely made an impact on James, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Premier League with that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's a big step. It is a big step, but I agree with you completely that he's massively improved under under Farke, and I don't think he's the only one that's improved. Are you concerned a little bit about the talk of no winger signings? Because when you look at the majority of pieces that get done, we want a box-to-box 8, we want a 9, probably a creative midfielder, left back, but there hasn't been much talk of a winger as such. So
it was early on the window.
What about Jack Harrison? I don't mind it.
I believe Rangers are looking for a winger. No, I just too much said by him for me. Stuff he didn't need to say, stuff his mother didn't need to say. They all had their little digs at Leeds. Even back a month or so ago, we were talking about why wouldn't you want to be part of the Everton project with their amazing fan base, and he's had a pop at Leeds fans before, so no thanks. I think he's got a lot of apologizing to do before he's accepted back and want to have some hell of a performances early part of the season. I mean, 1 goal last season, no assists at all. Do you want that in your team? I don't know. Frank Honorat from Gladbach was linked earlier in the window. I like Frank Honorat. Good player, good output. Had a bit of an injury last year as well, but decent player, but nothing since then. That was very early on in the summer. I think we're okay in that position as well. I think you've got Willy Gnonto, probably deserves a crack at start, and Larry Ramazani I think is going to push through this year again as well. I think the Premier League might suit Ramazani, a bit more space to get in behind people. Sure, gotta keep talking. And then you got Dan James as well. It won't be a popular opinion, but Brendan Aronson can play in the wide areas as well. I personally go back to the Premier League when we played Crystal Palace at home in the final season, and Aronson started that game out on the right hand side, was excellent on the right hand side. Then they put him back in the 10 for the second half, and he wasn't as good. And you've got, who else have we got? You've got some Sam Chambers as well. Could maybe start to push up as well and give you some depth there, but very, very young player. I think one more could come in, but it could be a loan. We're allowed to loan 2 players this year, so maybe you wait again. Again, it's not a position I think there's.
Is that only 2 Premier League loans, or can you get them on the continent as well?
I think it's 2 Premier League loans.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you reckon to? Let's talk about Joseph. We'll keep it civil. Because I know we come from.
I'm not going to agree on this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. But do you? So where do you stand on it? Then he should go out on loan. Is that where we're at?
Yep. Yeah, I think he's too young to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I've heard people saying things about what he's the same age as Gnonto. Very different players, very different positions, very different backgrounds, very different profiles. I think it would be very short-sighted to say sell him. Unless we have to sell him for PSR, then fair enough, your hands are tied. But if you listen to those who know, they reckon he's going to have a good future. I think 3 years left on his deal. If he wants to go and play minutes, which is completely understandable for any player at his age, I want to play. Great. Yeah. Go to Betis on loan for a season. See how it goes. If it doesn't go particularly well, you can still sell him then. You're still going to make a PSR profit on him. If it does go well, he's developed, you've got those minutes under his belt. Maybe you bring him back then and he's moved on a bit. I think if you look at someone like Rodrigo Muniz, not to say that they're the same player or even in the same ballpark, but if you look at Munez's career, it started off slow and it's built year on year on year on year on year. I think Joseph has that potential, but in order for him to realize that potential, he's got to go play football, and he's not going to play here. I don't think he's ready for where we're at right now. I don't think he'll be a first choice option. I don't think he'll play a lot of games, but I don't think we should be selling a player that young with a good ceiling, with potential there, when we've got an option to take our time with this one. And that's where I am with it. I think give him time. 21 is, I know when I played 21, I was telling my manager, the lads in front of me are dinosaurs. Why am I not playing? And he said to me, but if you're not starting by 24, come and have a chat with me. Until then, shut up and listen and learn from them. And I think he has that in him as well, where he's keen to develop. He's very aware of his own ability, good and bad. He talks an awful lot about trying to improve himself all around by doing other things outside of football. And I think there's a strong head on his shoulders. I would like to see us at least bide our time with this one. We were very quick to get rid of Max Dean, and he's turned out to be a decent player playing for Ghent, playing European football and scoring goals there as well. We're very quickly to throw Charlie Creswell out as well. 5 years on his deal, and we just got rid of him straight away. And you're like, you could have done that move to Toulouse for a loan for the season, then sold him to Como for 15 million yourself, then got the full amount of money,
Yeah. What about, and if we don't need to sell him for PSR, but the sale makes sense in order to bring other players in, where do you stand on that? Or would you still say, no, he should just be sent out on loan? Because I don't think we need to sell him for PSR. But I think they might do to help fund incomings.
If you look at Villa, Chelsea, Newcastle, Forest last year, they all had one very surprising sale that nobody saw coming. But it was in order to balance the revenue and balance the incomings and balance the squad out.
Yeah.
If Leeds bring in another striker, you've got Peru, this other striker, whether Bamford stays or not, and you've got Harry Gray coming through as well. You're probably overstocked in that position, probably a little bit. Nemecha as well. So you're probably overstocked there. If a really good bid over 10 million came in for him, then you could probably say, right, fair enough. But I don't know what it is about him. It's not that I'm saying that he should be starting games and he's a brilliant player, but there is stuff there in him. A lot of us predicted him to be the top goal scorer last season after what we saw in preseason. That doesn't go away. Yeah, that doesn't go away. I thought he started the season reasonably well, but I didn't think he was ready. I did think we needed more options in that position. I don't even think Pirou at times was exactly what we needed in that position.
No.
But I think if a silly offer came in for him, you're tempted to make that move in order to free up spaces to balance that squad out a little bit and bring another body somewhere. You could do that. But I just don't want to see us get our pants pulled down, our asses slapped again on letting someone go too early. And then all of a sudden in 2 years' time, like, Jesus Christ, he's great. Elliot Capri is another one. He's just gone to Napoli now. So again, very quick to write people off and go, yeah, he's not going to make it, sell him. It's like, got to give some of these players time.
I hear what you're saying. I do. I don't agree, as you know.
That's fine. I understand that. I know your reasons for it as well.
Exactly. Yeah, like someone's mentioned Birmingham City in the chat there, but Jay Stansfield starts up top for them and was quality for England overnight. Yeah. And look, it is what it is. I think they will sell him. I think they will to Betis. I just think there's a disagreement really in fee or maybe how it's structured for the future or whatever. But we'll have to.
I don't think we should give Betis any more cup price players.
No, they've got
because we have
Rocker, Llorente.
Firpo's going to go there for nothing.
Yeah,
how many of our Leeds players do you want for nothing? So I would make them pay for it.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Somewhere close to 10 would be great, wouldn't it? That'd be great.
I think if you could get over 10 with a sell-on clause, 20%, 15-20%, which apparently they were interested in doing with the. But I mean, you offer 10 million in January, and then you come back in the summer with 8 plus 20% sell-on. Come on.
Yeah.
We're not in the Championship anymore. We don't have to sell them.
No, yeah, exactly. What do you reckon to Goodmanson, mate, as well? Pal, he seems to be the only credible link left back, I think. We've had Alex Moreno linked, to be fair. Sorry, just let me quick, because Thomas, he definitely disagrees with me on the Joseph stuff. No, but that's my point, though, Thomas. That's my point. I don't think
they paid for potential. They paid for. They knew what they were doing. They bought a championship winning side in League One because there was no PSR and they could get away with it. They wouldn't get away with spending that money on him now in the championship. So that was a calculated move to make sure they got him. And he wasn't dropping down to League One unless it was big money.
Exactly, yeah. And Fulham didn't really want to sell him, if we're being totally honest. Yeah, but anyway, Goodmanson, thoughts?
More interest in him, apparently. I think it's who's in Everton. Angus is back.
Always.
Always Angus hanging in the background waiting. Everton are interested in some interest in the Bundesliga apparently as well. He's very good. He's very, very like Firpo. I mean, he's not unlike Firpo in how he plays. He likes to go forward aggressively, similar to Dan James and how he attacks. He pushes the ball past people and uses his pace to get beyond them, more so than taking them on 1v1, which would be, again, if you look at the moves that Firpo did last year when he was playing with Ramazani, more so on the left with the little pass infield and then just bomb on the outside and get the ball back on the end line. Kind of suits that as well. Decent player on a decent side. So, I think he's a good option if they can get him. But and he wouldn't cost, again, is between 8 and 15 million, depending on competition and other bids. Not too much money.
It's not. It's not. That's one thing I'll say for 49ers to get Biol as well. 15 million. It's great, isn't it?
It's bang on Andrea's pricing as well. Don't pay more than 15 million for him, he says.
Yeah, they're very, very good, aren't they? Very good businessmen, 49ers, to be fair. That's why as well, like, obviously I've been quite critical, or not critical, because when they get the deals done, I'm happy. It's more a case of like, what are you doing? But now this summer, I'm genuinely so relaxed about it, because I do believe they will, they're going to do really well out there. I think anyway, I think they're going to do great, to be fair.
I think they deserve the back end of the fan base this window because of the last couple of windows. I think they've done well. They don't think they've had any duds, really. Maybe Spence was questionable, but that's circumstances as well, more so than the player.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Yeah, just didn't work when it came in. But I genuinely trust them to get this done. And if the budget is 150 million ish for the spine of the team, keeper, centre back, centre mid, 10 and 9, they've already saved money. Already.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
If they wanted to go big for a 10 or for a 9 at some point, they've been smart enough with the business to say there is money there to put it together, to do a big bit and to get somebody in if they wanted to get a marquee player in. I like some of they're rumoured linked. I mean, like your man Glock, but Nathan from Real Betis was linked today as well. And tell you what, there's a baller the centre-back Leeds.
Hasn't he just signed?
Permanently. He was on loan last season. But remember one thing, Betis wanted to sign Diego Llorente to sell him straight away last year. So they were trying to bring him in for nothing and then flog him for 6 or 7 million straight away. But he was on loan with them last season. One of the main reasons they got to the European final, if you believe what's been said about him in Spain. And it'd be nice to take one of their players for a change. But another centre half, which means you're getting an overhaul at defence. Our Leeds are moving to a 3 at the back.
Yeah, I'd like us to go with a 3-man midfield, man. Because I don't see, if we bring in a box-to-box 8, how Ampadu and Tanaka, because that means Tanaka's losing his place for me, which I find great. I find great.
I don't think Ampadu is guaranteed a start either on that side, because there'll be a lot more expected from him next year. So you're upgrading your squad across the board and then creating competition, which is needed in every single position. Like, if DeBoyo's going out on loan next season, if Verber's being sold as he said he is, that really leaves you with 3 centre-backs again. So if you don't want a situation where one gets injured and Ampadu has to drop back in, you need another centre-half as well. So, And I mean, it's upset people as well. I'm not against a Michael Keane coming in on a free transfer to just bolster the squad, play a couple of minutes every now and then for nothing. A bit of experience down that end of the division as well, so it wouldn't bother me too much. And he played the bulk of the games he played last season were under David Moyes when he came in during the better time that Everton had last season. So, but people won't like that, and I understand the reasons why. But if you're just putting a body in there to fill a gap in case you need it, I'd have no problem with him for nothing.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't mind someone like Tanganga and stuff, to be honest, Joe. I don't mind it. Cheap and fills a number of positions.
He's a good kid as well. Good attitude, Tanganga. Yeah. Like, he's head screwed on him.
Definitely. Now that Biol's done as well, I think we will start to see some more proper, credible meat on the bone signings this week. Well, not maybe signings this week, but some proper links, I think, because obviously 7th of July, they're back in, aren't they? They're back in. So I know Farker said he wanted quite a lot in by that point. He's only got 2. But what do you make to Mecha, by the way?
Free hit, really. Yeah. I mean, if he finds the form that he had at Anderlecht, if the injuries are behind him, be a great signing. If they're not, and if he does still struggle with the injuries, then he's cost you wages. Yeah, and it's a 2-year deal. He's gone.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't think he's on an awful lot of money. I think he gives a different profile up front. Again, he can play wide if you need to. He can drop into the 10 if you need to. He's a big lad as well. He's not unlike Gio Rutter and how he plays and the kind of that leggy kind of approach and the way he turns players. Yeah, I fine. I mean, it definitely didn't annoy me. I was like, that's fine.
Same.
Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're the ones they need, Joe. They need to have, right, we're signing 5 first-team players, but we're probably going to need another 3 or 4 on the edges of that as well. And if he's one of them, fine. No problem. Yeah. 7 caps to get for Germany doesn't make you, means you're not a poor player if you've done that.
No, agreed. Agreed, mate. Is there anything else you want to touch on while I've got you on? What about Keith? What about Keith Andrews? That's confirmed almost now. I'm rubbing my hands. I swear this is not a good move, man.
He's a very good coach. He's an excellent coach. He's involved, but was involved with the Irish setup as well with Helder Hilgrimsson,
which didn't go well.
They've done a decent job. No, they've done okay. They did with Stephen Kenny as well. Stephen Kenny didn't work, but Helgrimsson's doing okay. He's building a younger side, and he's a very honest manager. When they don't play well, he'll say they haven't played well. And the last Ireland match he came out and went, I was bored watching that, which is great. Irish fans want that. We want someone who's not going to bullshit us and just tell us the truth. But he's part of that setup. He's rated as very, very highly as a coach. So is Lee Carsley, similar kind of mold, very good up and coming coach. Can they make the step up to the big leagues? Then is the question. He's a very confident person. Keith Andrews, he'll back himself 100% to do it. I think it's a big summer for Brentford, and I think their first year without Thomas Frank in the Premier League ever. Wisa going, Mbeumo going, Flecken going. I mean, that could be a shock to the system for them when they come 100%. Back. And then you've got Wolves stinking the division up as well.
I listened to Talk Sport. He was brought in at Sheffield United. They got relegated. He was brought in at Birmingham. Perhaps they got relegated. So I was like, oh, I'm having this. True. They haven't. I just think it's a huge step up. Martin O'Neill went for him as well. I don't know if you heard that interview. It was brilliant because he was like...
Martin's got a bit crankier as he's getting older, though.
Yeah, he said, oh, he used to have a go at me for my set pieces when I was at Ireland, and he went, and now he's a set piece coach or something, and then he went, I don't know how he can anyway, because while I were winning European Cups, you were down at the bottom, so he definitely was having a go at him, like, but... Listen, we'll see what happens with Brentford, but they'll need to do some business to replace Mbeumo and stuff. So, do you think where's your head at right now? I'm getting confident that we can stay up, Joe.
I'm sticking my prediction 17th. 17th is a good season.
I want 10 wins, mate. I'm on countdown to 10 wins. That's where my head's at.
I'm still counting 40 points because. Yeah. And I know everyone has said, oh, the 3 teams last year that went down all got like 26, 27 points. Like, yeah, but the teams that stayed up were on 37, 38, 39. So you still need to aim for that 40-point mark if you want to stay in the division. You won't have Spurs and Man United stinking it up next year down there. But I think Wolves are probably in danger this time around. I think Brentford could be an interesting one to watch as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Everton maybe struggle with the new stadium impact as well of trying to find their home again, like Arsenal struggled when they went to the Emirates for a bit as well. So be interesting. But there's I'm glad we got Everton first game of the season. It'll give us a real indication of where we are versus a team that's likely to be down the bottom half of the table.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
I'm confident, man. I'm confident. I am, honestly. I'm really confident. I think we're going to buy well. I have total faith in the manager, and I think we're going to be, we're going to be a success. You know, I think we're going to actually surprise people. Everyone's just convinced that these newly promoted teams are going to go straight down. I think Sunderland will. Listen, I had someone fixing my windows today who was a Sunderland fan, and he says we've gone up too soon. They've got a young squad. I do think they'll go down, but they'll do what Ipswich did and buy for the division below, if you like. Burnley not got a great start. Parker's guy. They'll lose Trafford. They've lost Egan Riley. So already, yeah, exactly. So Koleosho was good in the Euros as well. So maybe he could have offers. So, plus the tied to buying Antony, who's not a Premier League player. Marcus Edwards, they have to buy as well. So I think we have the best chance. But I'm going to say that.
Well, there's a winger we could go and get, Nick. You know.
What's that? Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't say no to Marcus Edwards at all. Or Enzo Lafay.
Yeah, there's him as well. He's going Sunderland. But that's where we've been smart, haven't we? That's where we've been smart with our...
But even the new... Like, this is also... like we know that... Like, Graham Smith put the piece out a while ago where he said that Leeds have already had top targets say no. Straight out, not interested. I'm going to a newly promoted side, which is, again, understandable from a player's perspective. But... if you look at I lost my point again. It pops into my head and then they pop straight back out. You know, if I don't grab them, they're gone. you know. Sorry, yeah, the clauses, that was it, the clauses. The last time we were in the Premier League, in order to get these players to come and play for us, we had to put loan exit clauses in their contracts. We had no choice. That was the only reason they would come to the club, if there was an easy way out. Well, if you look at the Yakupial contract, there's clauses in it, but they're based on Leeds staying in the division and not falling out of it. So there's significant financial bonuses for him if he can help the club stay in the division, which are the right kind of clauses to put in, because that's a motivator for him. I'm going to get a ton of money at the end of the season if I keep this club up, and then it's only going to get better. So yeah, I think it's really smart clauses as well. This is where Prague says he does his best work, isn't it? Contracts in his sleep. So
yeah, exactly. Let's hope that
he's done okay with them.
They have. Let's hope his influence
Where are you on Solomon? Do you care?
If we have him, I don't mind it. But the thing is, with wingers, there's so many. Yeah. There's so many you can go get. So listen, I really rate the player. I would like him to come back because it means you don't have to, reintegrate him, etc. Evie made a good point the other day. It's something we can wait because, he can come in late if needs be because he knows Farker and stuff. But listen, he's been given a chance by Farker, and I think he is a good squad player for Spurs, especially when you consider they're in the Champions League. He was easily or arguably one of the best wingers in the division. He very, very, it's the wrong word, but he never lost the ball. He never lost the ball, man. He the way he manipulated it past defenders, they couldn't get close. So I like him, but if we don't get him, then I know we can go get another winger. It's not like the number 9, is it? They're hard to find at the minute, but you can go get a winger from the continent like that, I think. So just got to make sure it's the right one. Jack says, quick summary. Fabrizio Romano, Moretti, Di Marzio all saying yeah. YEP saying no. So
you'll be inclined to believe the YEP.
Yes, yeah, definitely, probably.
We don't know with this because of the other side. I mean, if this was team talk, if this was caught offside, or even some of the other aggregate ones, you'd be like, yeah, probably nothing in this. But the fact that it's Moretti on Romano's channel and it's Sasha Tavaleri.
Yeah. And this is the same Moretti that's now announcing the player to Sunderland from Sassuolo, Lorient. That everybody's like, oh no, I don't like it. He's going there. So he's a good source, you know what I mean? But listen, at the end of the day, Noah Siddiqui, we were told, wasn't someone that was there. He was on the list, and now the Athletic are saying he's definitely one Leeds United like. I think he's second option. Diarra obviously was first, but I'm okay with that. But like with anything, Gerald probably attest to this. You can get told something, and by next, a couple of hours later, it can switch. So,
I mean, if you go back to just before Nemecha signed, the week Nemecha signed, the end of the week he signed the weekend. If you go back to the early part of that week, Joe Donoghue was saying Leeds weren't close on any deals. And then all of a sudden, bang, deal's done. You're like, it can change that quickly. You can throw out a load of feelers and go, which is why I kind of said to people, if you look at the end of the season and that first month afterwards, the amount of players Leeds are being linked with, then you find out Leeds have had a load of targets tell them they weren't interested straight off the bat. And you go, that's probably all coming from their agents, where Leeds have thrown out feelers and gone, there's the net now. That's everyone we're interested in talking about. Let's see what comes back and who's interested. And then you get down to this month where you're like, it's a handful of targets now. And these are the ones they're going to seriously make a move for. So it can change very quickly. I mean, and again, you never know. The club could be just putting out smoke screens. The club could also be just trying to shut things down to manage the narrative around it, to keep other clubs from getting involved and being interested in it. But it's interesting. I mean, when Phil was at the YEP, Phil did an awful lot more poking and prodding and didn't always necessarily agree with what the club said. I think you find now at the YEP, an awful lot of it is fed from the club. They seem to be club sources say this, club sources say this. It's not so much any investigative journalism going out themselves and finding reports of players that Leeds are linked with. It's more a case of hearing a link, going to the club, and then coming back and saying no. Or
yeah, exactly.
Whatever the case is. And that can change rapidly.
Yeah, that's where we're at, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see. Joe, it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. It's been a while, hasn't it? I hope to see you again soon.
You will.
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll be playing alongside each other. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
It's looking likely, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll wait and see. Listen,
Big and
you all
small.
follow. What did you say, mate?
Big and small, side by side.
No, yeah. Folks, I know you will have already, but make sure you go check on Leeds United The View for all your Leeds United news in one place. So make sure you do that. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and if there's anything to chat about later on, I shall do so, but we'll have to wait and see what happens, and I'll see you in a bit. Crouch and Defoe. We're not playing up top. Well, I'm not. Anyway, maybe Joe might, but we'll see.
I'll come back.
back. See you in a bit, folks. Bye-bye.